Midnight Crystal Tiki Earrings. Welcome back to another episode of Handstamp Jewelry Making using the Infinity Blok. I hope you enjoy this. Today, these are the tools we'll be using, and the two components we will use to make earrings are the bar threading earring blanks, and here are cubic zirconia rectangle front drill. You can't see it very clearly, but it is drilled in the front like this, right through. So these are cubic zirconia drops, and we're going to get started. First, I was thinking about a design, and I've sketched out, this is a template that I printed in the past that has this piece there. And I've sketched out, I tried a few things, and for some reason, I'm just obsessed with this kind of basket weave pattern. And I want to make a number of earrings with it until I get tired and I'll do something else. But today, this is what we're going to do. And I think it will be really nice because right above this will be the silver. So effectively, I'm going to be stamping this pattern onto this, and then we're going to thread it like such. And I think it will be a very nice earring. And then we're going to form the hook. But I think that's what we're going to go with. So first order of business, I'm just going to put some masking tape, double-sided. I'm going to roll it actually. I don't have any double-sided tape, and this is my little cutter that I quite like to use. Okay, so all I'm doing is I'm rolling this and putting it down, but you can use any pick, ice pick, pin, cake decorating thing, but I'm going to punch a hole. It makes it a lot easier. And then I am going to put this down. Might as well line it up. It's easier on the eyes when it is straight. And then that's easier for me later on. Oops, that's not even straight. Okay, good enough. It's not crucial because I'm just keeping this down. And then what I'm going to do, you don't have to. You can just freehand it like this, but because I want to do a right and a left, and I'm not sure if I'm going to do a great job of it, I just cut out a piece of clear film from a cookie bag. And then I'm going to draw out exactly where I want the lines to be. Okay, so I think that is what I want. And although I'm going to be drawing it again, when I do the next one, I might as well do this. When I do the next one, all I have to do is flip it to the side, upside down, or the other way. And now I have the pattern and I'll know that's how I'm going to do it. So it's more of a guide than anything else. Okay, so I'm just going to do that again. And I'm going to move this over to make sure I got that. So this one needs to be somewhat higher. And the other thing is, it's not a bad thing if you do this. Have these guides drawn. So what we're going to do now is use our stamp and find stick stamp, and then we're going to stamp. And using the reflection, I can place it, but at the same time, I can match out match up to the little guidelines on the outside. Okay, so I am ready to put this down, and I look from this angle to see where it lines up with the marks that I have drawn. And then I want it to be up and down straight this way, so as to get the maximum imprint. By the way, now it's warped, which is fine because this is a 2-pound hammer and I could have used something lighter. So we're going to straighten this out. Sometimes I put leather over paper, but I don't have it, and this is just a bunch of Post-it notes so that I don't get the piece scratched. And all you have to do is tap lightly and it's straightened out. Basically, you want it kind of even. And the reason why I'm doing this before the other lines is I don't want it to be warped in some way and distort my lines. So I think that's pretty good. And now I'm ready for the other lines. And actually, because I look from this angle, it is much easier for me to just turn and keep it in the same position. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Okay, and then I'm going to straighten this out. And I'm going to now remove the marker marks because those were mainly guidelines. And then I'm going to draw in where exactly I have hammered. And I find actually this nail buffer is really useful for just about everything. So there we have it. It's beautiful. So now I'm just going to see that I haven't done it perfectly. I didn't meet this and it was heavier, but I might end up doing the other one just the same. So I'm not going to correct it just yet. I'm going to set it to the side. By the way, you'll notice that because I've hammered the bottom but not the top, it's flared out a little bit. But don't worry, what you can do is you can lay it on the side as long as this is out and just gently tap. Even better if you have a lighter hammer. And then do that on the other side as well. Okay, so I'm going to clean this up and then make the lines more pronounced with a marker. Okay, so basically I'm going to use this marker to get into the grooves. Now, traditionally, if you couldn't do that, what people actually did was use silver blackener and pour it in. It'll oxidize the surface and then you polish it back. Okay, so now that's done. And then I polish it. I use a sandy part. It doesn't take away a whole lot of silver. So you can actually have it so that it is like this and it's satin finish. But actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side and then I will put a high shine. Okay, now I'm going to do it's a really interesting pattern. And now I am going to form these right over like that. So basically, I want it to be flat. You see, this stone is not flat. It's at a slight angle up top. And I want for it to be at least flat. I don't want it to be tilted that way. So I want it to be flat to the bottom. And I want it to swing. So in fact, what I'm going to do is you have a choice. If both stones, one is thinner than the other, then you want to eyeball and use the marker like this. Okay. Once you're holding on to it. And then we're going to do the same thing on this one. And then on the side, you see this one, it's pivoting in a strange way. That's okay. And sometimes when you have pins that are 925 and they stamped it here, it will warp it. Don't worry. Actually, what you can do while we're talking about that is if you've stepped on this or it's warped somehow, don't worry. Use chain nose pliers and just keep tapping, like squeezing as you rotate this.
That again.
And what that does is it straightens it out. If it is pivoted and really warped on the side, what you can do is hold it down and press down like this. Pressing down, then it gives against a flat surface and will give you a 90-degree angle. Okay. Right now I'm just going to put this in. And what I'm going to do, the other thing is, sometimes I see here, the drill hole of the stone is not very good. It's not straight. So what I want to do is I want to hold it down like this, exactly where I want, and bend it slightly. Okay, bend it this way to compensate. You can't tell looking at the front, but you can through the back. And I've bent it a little bit. Make sure that it's the front that I'm looking at, and I want it to be straightened. Okay. And then you want to, you don't want to go too close and wedge. It applies pressure, but what you want to do like this. And and the other thing is that every step you want to do same thing on the other side, so that it's, while you've got muscle memory working it, you're working both of them and they look even. Okay, so this one, actually this one's drilled better. I'm going to hold on to it. I do the same thing approximately here. And it does help when you are marking it. Like, got the marker. Okay, so now let's see that, and I'm making sure that both swing freely. Okay, so now I'm going to bring it up and over like this, or like this, and over, and before I do the curve. Okay. This is the wonky one, wonkier. I'll hold on to it. So, kind of like this. Now what you have is something that looks like this. It will swing freely. And then what we want to do is, if I don't want this part show, I could, if I want more of the hook to show, I want this to drop more, I can start turning it at the top here. But I'm going to decide on that, and I might do a mark with a marker so that I know where exactly to hold to wrap. Do that again. Okay, I'm deciding where I want it to wrap. Say for example, if I want this to curve right, so I'm going to curve around any handle. You can use a marker, but this is what I want. I'm going to mark the same amount, and then I'm going to eyeball so that my mark is level with where the red handle intersects. And then I'm going to push across. Okay, I'm not sure if you can see that. So if I move these right and left, you see that spot that I've marked? That's where I want this to level. If I'm looking at it straight, this, and I bend. And sometimes you might find that you don't have enough room. So I might change my mind and mark a little longer. So I'm now seeing that I think I need it to be a little bit longer to be able to get the curvature I want. So here we go. Okay. Now, still holding on to the front, moving it so that it starts off kind of touching. And I'm looking at it front. Okay. So there. Don't worry, it doesn't need to be perfect right now. We just want this part to be smooth. Okay. And I'm going to, because these pins are tempered, you're going to need a bit of coaxing. And if you want this part to be completely round, in and then out again, push it in. Okay. In pushing, I've warped it, and I'm just going to adjust it later with a pair of pliers. Okay. Okay. Towards the bend, you want to be holding this as opposed to here, because that squeezes the stone. You want this part to form. Do that again. Okay. So now you want to straighten this to make sure that it swings freely, and you can bend this back. Okay. And sometimes it is trying to go in a wrong direction, and you just have to hold on and twist it. Hold on to this. Twist. Okay. There we go. And what is often really important is you want it to be meeting. You look up, make sure that it is holding well and centered, because when you're wearing it, you're going to be looking this way. And so in this case, this hook, because of the way I twisted it, is going that way. All you have to do is gently coax it. And I'm going to show it to you in a different angle. So now that I'm happy with that, I'm going to make this right and left, we're going to work it so that the right and left are the same, and I'm going to check to make sure that it is straight from the front, and you can look from here that it is straight, compensating for the way the hole is. Okay, so I've got these like such, and they look like this, and I'm happy with them. And to make it look really finished, actually all you have to do is pink the tip, and I'm going to do it right here like this. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Now I can eyeball, or I can just draw a line. Okay, that's great. So I'm looking at it, they're a good pair. And here are the finished earrings. I hope you enjoyed that. And if you did, please like and subscribe. Stones and Findings is a wholesaler of premium quality chains and findings, as well as the inventor of the Infinity Blok. I'm going to leave more information below about our company, as well as the Infinity Blok and the components I've used in this video.